had planned to fill up these fuel tanks, which I'm about to show you right now, so that way we don't have to make any unnecessary stops, so that way we could have just passed through their state. They specified how they were trying to protect public security and public peace, and I specified how we were just traveling through. We weren't going to stop, and we weren't going to stop at any gas stations because that could have alerted the public, which is why we have the gas tanks right here and right here. So that way we can avoid having to stop at gas stations, so that way we don't alert the public, and there's no need for them to be here. But they're the reason why we're still here. We've been asking to go on our peaceful journey.
That's under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or the laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding, the senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the seven state legislatures, and all executive judicial officers, both of the United States and of the seven states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. But no religious test shall ever be required as qualification to any office of public trust under the United States.
Peace, 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 peace. I'm Rami Salam El. I thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. We have an update in the Rise of the Moors Wakefield Standoff case. I want to read to you some new information from the articles that just came out, and then I'll get into some of the particulars about the case and the process for those that may be wanting to understand exactly what's going on. So first I'll be reading from the Boston Herald, and I'll have the links in the description for those that just want to see the source article for yourself. This comes from the Boston Herald by Marie, and I've been trying to pronounce the name. I've been messing up. So Marie Szaniszlo, Zanizlo, I believe that's how you say it. Excuse me if I mispronounced it. And it reads, a group of Moor sovereigns who don't acknowledge U.S. authority over them and were found wearing body armor and traveling with a cache of guns in a van in July are being held behind bars as a judge considers whether they are too dangerous to be released. In a recording captured on their own body cameras by police, one can be heard saying to another, "You're a sniper, so go to the front of the van." And another said, "Things would be different if we could call reinforcements." The recordings obtained by police with search warrants were chillingly at odds with what the group's self-described leader can be heard repeatedly telling state police on a body camera after a trooper pulled them over on July 3rd when he saw them filling their gas tank on the side of Interstate 95 in Wakefield. Our nation has a treaty with your government, the Rise of the Moors leader told a trooper. We're not anti-government, we're not anti-police. We're on a peaceful journey. Quote. The group's leader said they were a militia traveling from Rhode Island to Maine for training. Three of the men had contentious arraignments on weapons charges Tuesday in Woburn Superior Court. Stephen Perez, a.k.a. Lucha El Por Libertad, 31 of the Bronx, New York. Aaron Lamont Johnson, a.k.a. Tarif Sharif Bey, 29 of Detroit, Michigan. And Aaron J. Jimenez, a.k.a. Aban El Kura, 27 of Bronx, New York. Each of them represented himself. Two others will be arraigned later this week. Initially, we'll get to that in a moment. It further goes on to read, "They don't have jurisdiction over me with anything," Jimenez shouted as the court clerk read the charges. "I am not a U.S. citizen." He and other members of the groups said they are sovereign citizens of Moroccan descent and not subject to federal or state laws. The dangerousness hearing will continue on October 7th. It goes into the lawsuit that was dismissed. The last part here, it says, they were being held without bail in Massachusetts after a series of contentious arraignments and dangerousness hearings at which members of the group said they're sovereign citizens. Moroccan said not. Okay, so that's the end of the article. And then I want to read another part of the article because it was, here we go. This has a little bit more information, and this is from WCVB.com. It doesn't have an author for the article, but the article is titled "3 Rise of the Moors Members Charged in Hours-Long Standoff Along I-95 in Wakefield Appear in Court." 3 members of the Rise of the Moors group were charged in an hours-long standoff, appeared in court Tuesday. On September 1st, the grand jury, Middlesex County grand jury, indicted a group of 8 men associated with Rise of the Moors in connection with the standoff. And then 3 of those men, as I said earlier, Stephen Perez, Aaron Lamont Johnson, and Aaron J. Jimenez. Also, they have the AKAs. They were arraigned. Those 3 individuals were arraigned on Tuesday, yesterday, in Woburn Superior Court. With those 3, all 3 men indeed have refused lawyers and are legally representing themselves in court. They made numerous objections from the start of the hearing, including the names listed on the court documents that list the charges they are facing. The defendants argue that they are not subject to U.S. law since they are descendants of a mythic Moroccan nation that once covered much of the world, including America. That is the other part I wanted to get on the record. Okay, and this is an important part that we'll get to in terms of the explanation. During the arraignment, prosecutors claimed that the men are dangerous and asked the judge to keep them in custody without bail. Those prosecutors also tried to undercut the defendants' claims that they were just peacefully traveling along I-95. According to the prosecutors, video recorded during the standoff reveals that men can be heard talking about a sniper and loading a round into the chamber. And that's what we heard the quote earlier. And it says here again, if they start walking toward us, quote, if they start walking toward us, spread out. They're acting funny and they're moving funny. Where's your arm at? You're a sniper, so get your sniper and go to the front of the van. A prosecutor accused, end quote. A prosecutor accused one of the group's members of saying during the incident. Prosecutors also said that one of the group members allegedly told a Massachusetts state trooper that the incident would have turned out differently if they could have called in reinforcements. The 3 defendants arraigned Tuesday submitted dozens of pieces of evidence, including a printout of the Moroccan flag and a document entitled The Zodiac Constitution. Very important. The judge presiding over the case said he will need time to go through all of the evidence and postpone the remainder of the hearing until next week. So I'm trying to see if there was any other news. Okay, and so also here at the bottom, Antonio, which was another one of the Rise of the Moor group member, Omar Malik Antonio, and Cumberlander, that his name is, Quinn Cumberlander, aka Quinn Kabir L. Those 2 were scheduled to be arraigned this week. Antonio on Wednesday and Cumberlander on Thursday. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken here, because of the evidence, the judge presiding over the case postponed the remainder of the hearings until next week. So that is the update, or, let me just summarize. The 3 of the Moors were arraigned in Superior Court. Two of the remaining eight, there's eight, from my understanding, yes, there's eight Rise of the Moor militia group members that are to be arraigned. Three were arraigned yesterday on Tuesday. Two were scheduled to be arraigned later in the week, but those got postponed until next week. I believe the date was the 7th of October. Let me check that other article. Yes. Well, the dangerousness hearing will continue on the 7th. So I'm not exactly sure when the arraignment hearings will continue in terms for the rest of the Rise of the Moor group members, but sometime next week. And just to give some more context and some more understanding, initially they were charged and arraigned in Malden District Court, but because of the nature of the crime, it got moved to Woburn Superior Court. Unfortunately, when the Rise of the Moors, the Rise of the Moor militia group members, when they were arraigned in the district court, they had the dangerousness hearing, which was a piece or a component for the bail. During that time, bail was removed as an option, and they were forced to remain in custody for, was it 120 days? I believe it was for 120 days. And so they have been in jail this entire time. Now, because the case got moved to Superior Court, the process is starting over again. And so now they're having another bail and dangerousness hearing to determine if they can receive bail from the Superior Court charges in arraignment hearing, or if they will be remaining in custody for the remainder until trial or until a plea is entered. And as you heard earlier, the prosecutor is arguing that they are indeed dangerous and they do need to be held without bail. So that is something to be aware of. And also, I just wanted to read, because I needed to understand the process of the arraignment. And so I looked it up on mass.gov/info-details/the bail process to arraignment. I'll drop the link in there so you can see it. But let me read just a brief statement here on arraignment. An arraignment is the formal procedure that starts a criminal case. After the defendant meets with probation, they go into the courtroom and wait for the session clerk, the clerk who assists the judge in court, to call their name and to be arraigned. The session clerk tells the defendant the specific charges, and a summary of the alleged facts of the case is read aloud in court. The clerk or the judge will typically tell the defendant a plea of not guilty will be entered on your behalf. The plea is then recorded on the case docket, a list of all important events in connection with the case. The clerk reads the charges, and the judge asks the probation officer, who's also in the courtroom, for the defendant's criminal record. The judge will ask a probation if the defendant is eligible to have an attorney appointed to represent him. The probation officer will tell whether the defendant is indigent, excuse me. The judge will then ask the defendant, you're qualified, do you want me to assign you a lawyer, counsel? If yes, the judge will appoint a bar advocate who will step forward, join the defendant. If the answer is no, then the defendant is responsible for hiring their own attorney. Arraignment in Superior Court. If you're arraigned in Superior Court, the judge or clerk magistrate presides at a Superior Court arraignment. The indictment is read to the defendant, and they're asked how they want to plead to the charges. Bail is set, and a case scheduling order, including the trial date and hearing dates, is established in accordance with the standing orders of the court. And the rest is arraignment in juvenile court. So that is just a summary of arraignment for those that may not have been aware of what an arraignment is. One thing to note that I did not see in the articles is the 3 Rise of the Moor group members. I did not see if they if they pled not guilty. So we'll see as the case continues to play out. That is all of the developing news at this time. When more news breaks or something more develops in the case, I will do my best to bring the information to you. If you need to contact me, you can email me at iamhhtemple@gmail.com. Yeah, I think that is it. Also, I'll drop the link in the description so that you can check the playlist if you want to get an up-to-date, want to get caught up to speed on the entire case. Yeah, I think that is it. Thank you very much. Keep shining. Love is the key. Love instead of hate. Yeah, thank you. Peace.